Peace to you all. Before making a poll on which video to make next, I saw this tweet by Tyson. I always used to hate my birthday.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the f***?
This is one of the first years in a while I woke up excited to celebrate. Here's to 26 years of hiding my true self. 27 feels so good. I destroyed him with 2 letters. Ew. I'm joking. I didn't destroy anyone, of course. Instead, I just didn't like the picture. He neither looked handsome nor beautiful, just very weird. So from a man to a man, I was straightforward. I said, ew. Of course, I got some responses. Some agreed. Others reminded me to look in my mirror again. Some said I paid for Twitter when Chris and Mr. Beast did too. Anyways, I did a poll on who I should talk about next, and of course, as per your votes, we'll be talking about Tyson in this video. Pokimane will be talked about in a future video. So let's yeet her out of this conversation. Now, there was this tweet by Tyson.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Wishing people a happy Pride Month with the caption, "Since it's June, you are legally required to like this selfie." Of course, he got massive delusional support from people like Dream and such, and the opposition was not so delusional nor supportive. And of course, the third party, the legend himself, Man Like Isaac, responded too. Now, there isn't much update about Tyson as he can't handle the backlash, which is understandable. I mean, there are ridiculous people out there probably sending him death threats and calling him names and insulting him. Like, I'm really sorry for such people existing, Chris. It's not right. But I'll have to take your tweets and retweets as your own opinions and thoughts. For example, this video of a man talking about how there is no agenda with a Target cloak. Since Chris retweeted this video, I assume he agrees with the man. As such, I'll respond to this video to the best of my abilities and knowledge. But before that, let me respond to this tweet. Oh man, very smart, but not smart enough. You guys need to try better than this. Being a chair and being a tree are different identities. Okay, but at its core, it's still wood. What are you trying to imply here? I mean, take a tree which is made up of wood, or a man in this regard who is made of XY chromosomes. Cut him up, reshape him, paint him, surgery, HRT, and done. You made the replica of a chair. You only changed the outside, not the inside. Just as its core, it's still wood. Your outward appearance will never change your biological makeup, no matter how hard you try. But okay, forget the XY chromosome example. Let's say that trans people are the chairs, as you are trying to show, and the trees are men. Are you implying that men are natural, just like trees, whereas chairs are not natural, just like trans people? That trans people are man-made? I mean, your argument defeats itself.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We have some work to do now.
Are you implying that a chair's purpose is to be sat on, while a tree's purpose is to provide society oxygen and sacrifice itself to provide a home, which in turn reflects how men keep society running while sacrificing themselves to sustain their families? Come on, guys. Seriously?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
You can never change your sex. Never. Check your chromosome. Now, this retweet says, if God made Dylan a trans woman. If God makes no mistakes, that includes trans people. Try embracing the beauty of human diversity. It makes the world feel a lot brighter. I don't know why you assume that God made Dylan a trans woman. You just assume their gender. This is dumb. What do you mean trans woman is made by God? Being trans woman is man-made. But anyways, I assume they meant that someone is born male and feels like he's in the wrong body and is actually a female. Okay, sure. But just because God can never make mistakes doesn't mean mutations don't happen. Stop living in a fantasy. Whether you believe in God or not, you cannot say that we live in a perfect world. It's called life for a reason. It's not paradise. It's not a fantasy. God can make you incestuous. Doesn't mean he approves of them. It doesn't mean that God makes mistakes. It means this life is a test for you. Everyone got their own types of tests. But anyways, I digress.
Time to get serious. Time to get serious!
Okay, I'm not here to defend Target, but I do want to talk about what is the definition of pushing an agenda. Now, I don't drink, right? But everywhere I go, in damn near every store, I see liquor, wine, and beer advertisement. Is that pushing an agenda? What if you're a meat eater and you enjoy your meat? As soon as you walk into a restaurant, they let you know, like, hey, we got vegetarian options. Is that pushing an agenda? What if I'm Catholic or Jewish or something, and I don't celebrate Christmas? But I can bet your bottom dollar, come December, I'm gonna hear Christmas music, see Christmas movies advertised everywhere, Christmas clothes, Christmas parties, discounts, all this stuff, Christmas stores. Is that pushing an agenda?
Nice. Comparing sexuality with food, drinks, and a pagan holiday. First of all, everyone needs to understand what an agenda is. A simple agenda is nothing but things to do. You can go to a meeting and be like, oh, what's the agenda for today? What is missing from your point is the negative connotation of a hidden agenda. The term has been generalized to just saying agenda in context. But for now, I'll assume this man knows what a hidden agenda means. Now, all of these points are not even remotely close to the fact that this agenda they're pushing can ultimately alter a child's state of mind for the rest of their life. Vegetarian options and Christmas music will not have your child asking about sexuality at 5 years old. And when you see straight people kissing in movies and TV shows, that is not an agenda.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you?
You cannot push a biological standard. It is objectively normal for males and females to be attracted to one another and develop intimate aromatic relationships. Because a few people don't follow that objective standard doesn't mean it's invalidated. Just like someone born with extra fingers, it doesn't invalidate the biological fact that humans are born with 5 fingers on each hand. Anyways, is it just me or does he feel a bit weird? I feel like he's not really honest. Maybe he's just nervous and trying to be careful with his words. But like, at the same time, I can't shake the feeling that he's taking advantage of this LGBTQ issue to gain support and fame. It's just pure speculation, forget it guys. I agree with him to an extent. It's an agenda on both sides, sure, but one is literally sexual while the other is consumption.
We now know that this has now infected Target, which was pushing all sorts of trans quote-unquote pride merchandise, which literally included items for young boys to tuck their genitals. So if they didn't want to appear to be boys, they could appear to be girls. Paul, I think you and I are on a similar plane on this one, which is that as an adult, you can wear what you want to wear, you can dress how you want to dress,
100%.
Put on whatever makeup you want to put on, but we shouldn't be marketing this towards kids.
Besides, there are age restrictions for alcohol, and in most countries, they are not to be advertised or sold in specific areas like school, because children and underage boys and girls are there. No one is going to their classrooms and telling children it's okay to drink, it's okay to explore which alcoholic beverage best describes your taste bud. No, what the hell? Now, these alcoholic advertisements are the aftermath of the agenda. It was illegal in the past, but slowly the hidden agenda convinced the public alcohol is not so bad. Just like here, just like LGBT, it's not so bad. It was normalized. You may not be drinking, but I'm sure you did try as you were curious, especially when it comes to it being a norm in your society. So yeah.
As soon as you walk into a restaurant, they let you know, like, hey, we got vegetarian options. Is that pushing an agenda?
You could say they are pushing an agenda. Yeah, they tell you, an adult, that they got vegetarian options. They don't bend down and talk to your kids saying, eat veggies, you little fuck. And I agree, it is an agenda. Everything's an agenda. But a negative agenda goes against biology and the norms of society. Vegetarian food is at least healthy to a certain extent and is compatible with human biology.
Come December, I'm gonna hear Christmas music, see Christmas movies advertised everywhere, Christmas clothes, Christmas parties, discounts, all this stuff, Christmas stores. Is that pushing an agenda?
Yes, it is. What's your point? Christianity is one of the biggest religions in the US and in the whole world in general. Although Christmas is not really part of Christianity in origin, that's why I called it a pagan holiday, as it's used for expanding the economy. Even Taiwan celebrates it, and I've barely met a Christian here. Anyways, I'll concede and assume it is part of Christianity. You can say I hate Christmas, and besides people asking you why, you'd be fine. But if you say something against the alphabet community, it's judgment day for you. They'll track you down. Like, let me give you another example. Muslim countries, you hear the call to prayer 5 times a day, even at 4 a.m. in the morning. That's pushing an agenda, but it is their country. It's normal and acceptable for them. Most of them are Muslim. Come to Taiwan or even China, you can hear the religious chants every now and then at night, celebrating and praying. Is that pushing an agenda? Yes, it is. It is their country. I live in their country, and that's how it is. The difference between all the examples you laid out with the LGBTQ agenda is that it's not a genuine one. It's exposing sexuality to children, which is against the biological standard. Saying you can be whatever you want, a boy or a girl, or whatever you feel like, is a very bad agenda, especially since children have a huge imagination and oftentimes conflate imagination with reality.
When my son was like 1 or 2 and I used to shop for him in Target or Walmart or wherever, or even when people would bring him shirts, it would always say little player or hide your daughter or lock up your daughter. I'm coming for, some real predator shit. So you can start grooming and advertising your son as that little player heartbreaker that you're going to teach your daughter to stay away from.
What country is that? Why is that normalized? But yeah, even though kids might not understand things directly, it still can affect their subconscious. That's why you have to focus on the right values and ethics. It's your job as a parent to teach them and raise them properly.
And I know what y'all gonna say. We just don't want to force homosexuality on the kids. I don't think you should force sexuality, period, on the kids. And believe it or not, it's possible to teach kids about gay without teaching them about sex. They know about heterosexuality without having the idea what sex is. So it's possible that they can learn about homosexuality without them having to know what sex is. They know a man and a woman can like each other and be together, and they still don't have to know what they do in the fucking bedroom.
Also, now it isn't about sexuality anymore, huh? Isn't their gender identity based on sexuality?
This book here, it's called It's Perfectly Normal. I'll read some of this for you. It says, after a bit, a person's becomes moist and slippery, and the clitoris becomes hard. After a bit, a person's becomes erect, stiff, and larger. Sometimes a bit of clear fluid that may contain a few sperm comes out of the tip of the penis and makes it wet.
Can we, sir, I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? If you don't want to hear it in a school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? We have perverts that are perverting our kids. And you all sit back smug in your chairs, but you don't want me to read it. Why? Does it bother you? Yes or no? You can't answer that question. You want to know why? Because politically speaking, you can't say that it's wrong. And you don't want me to read the filth because it exposes the truth. How dare you tell me to stop reading it? If you don't want to hear it, why should the children have to see it?
Pastor, your time is up. Thank you.
That makes two of us.
I mean, you don't have to teach kids that a boy likes a girl or vice versa. It's natural. You don't need to teach these things. There are only a few minorities that might not feel that, and that's fine. Parents are responsible for them. They won't know what homosexuality is without exposing them to the sex part. It is sexuality for a reason. It's not embedded into their DNA. Oh yeah, by the way, I also don't condone exposing children to anyone kissing in public. No PDA, my friends. Even for straight couples. I don't condone it. It's normalized, I guess, but it's just unnecessary.
It's crazy. We can force religion, beliefs, politics, everything on kids. But as soon as you walk in the store and see some rainbows on a t-shirt.
No, not everything. Racism, for example. Yes, it still exists. Society is against it. We never force and advertise it to children, but when it happens, we bash the race. Another example, in most countries you can't force your children to be Nazis, can you? You see, religions, politics, and ideas are all just conflicts of ideology. LGBTQ, just like Satanism, is an ideology, a religion. We cannot have every opinion and thought accepted. I mean, why are you people okay with bashing Nazi fans, huh? Because they hurt people? Well, the LGBTQ harms society as a whole, especially in the long run.
I do want to know, though, if the agenda is what supposedly turns kids gay or whatever, and that's the push that they're going for, then how do we have so many people that grew up gay without any push of an agenda? If the push in heavy media and advertisement really works when it comes to sexuality, then no one should be gay. This shit just became acceptable 10 minutes ago.
As I just said, some people might be born with an abnormal biological desire. It doesn't negate the fact of the biological standard, aka being straight, but it also doesn't normalize the exception. Exceptions do not make the rules. Now, these LGBTQ agendas, through Pride Month, through merch, social medias, and so on, are to blame for pushing this abnormality to the vulnerable minority and spreading confusion all over. It's becoming a trend to identify yourself as a new sexuality, like this obnoxious child.
Heard of a cupiosexual? Here we go.
Oh,
God.
God, I know not all people from the LGBT community are like that. Some are very simple. They just feel attraction to the same sex or both. They don't use their feelings as an identity. I can understand that and I respect that. But now we got people like this. What the?
people who identify as cupiosexual fall under the
I can't keep up.
I have so many things to say about this.
I can't.
Do not feel sexual attraction towards others.
Okay.
But they do wish or want to be in a sexual relationship with someone.
Okay, that's enough. I got the definition.
Yeah, so basically single. I do not want to be sexual, but I want to be sexual. You're single. Ugh, this kid was annoying. He thinks he's a human cartoon. Like she, he, it, they, whatever. I don't know anymore. Listen, this is real life, little boy, or whatever you are. Only Jim Carrey can be a real life cartoon, no one else.
How many sexual identities are there, and why are they all personalities? Young people who feel uncomfortable with themselves or have a little bit of anxiety go to the internet and they find this community and they're like, this is your sexuality now.
They're really like rewarded for it. Get attention and everyone fawns over them. It's really sad. It's
Diversity
so destructive.
points. Like, why is this person so loud putting on this cartoony character? You want attention and you want to be seen and you probably want help.
If you've made it this far, like, subscribe, and comment I see space down below.
Just imagine waking up every day and seeing and being someone that you don't want to be.
What do you hear in those words? What do you hear?
I hear confusion.
So you hear someone that is confused, mentally ill?
Yes.
What if this is not a mental illness? What if this individual is pre-wired to be a woman, but in a man's body?
That's called a mental illness, Dr. Phil, with all due respect. Now, having a mental illness isn't a negative trait necessarily. It's just something that people have to deal with, and we need to help people out with that. The problem is that the current method of treatment doesn't actually address the causes. It often creates more problems, especially long term. See, if this agenda keeps up, worse things will keep happening. More degenerate things will be normalized and accepted over time. This is what I believe will happen in the future if this keeps up. Mark my words. In just a few years, if the LGBTQ agenda keeps on going, then we will definitely end up with bestiality, incest, and pedophilia being accepted and normalized eventually. And actually, it's starting to ooze out of the colorful closet.
This is a scene in a video game. You get to fuck a bear. Like an actual bear. And Ko brought up a great point. He kept asking, is this even legal? Because, I mean, technically it's bestiality.
I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a licensed professional counselor and sex therapist in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I want to talk about minor attracted persons because they are probably the most vilified population of folks in our culture. You may have noticed that I'm using the term minor attracted persons, sometimes abbreviated to MAPS, instead of the more commonly used term pedophile. And I'm doing this because the term pedophile has moved from being a diagnostic label to being a judgmental, hurtful insult that we hurl at people in order to harm them or slander them.
They want to convert the next generation from their natural form, especially to change their sex, amputating their private parts to achieve a facade form of happiness and self-love, which is so vague and untrue. Now you might ask, if the LGBTQ community was trying to push some kind of agenda in order to turn kids gay or something, then what would be the end goal of gay people blasting rainbows on everything and turn everyone gay? To answer this, I propose two things happening simultaneously. First off, the natural instinct to have children. And since most of them can't have children, might as well convert other children, right? And even adopt a few. Why not? Just as how straight people would want to pass on their genes biologically, instinctually. Secondly, population control. Now, this is probably not directly from the LGBT community, but rather, the alphabet community is being used by the higher-ups to control the population. Like George Soros of the World Economic Forum. He loves the idea of population control, and he's funding the LGBTQ movement a lot. And if you don't know, overpopulation is a myth. Overpopulation was the foundation for a movement that began to preach population control and contraception as the keys to socioeconomic development and the betterment of the world. For example, China's one-child policy, where women were severely fined, arrested, or forcibly sterilized for exceeding the birth limit, and the United Nations education program that refused aid to developing countries unless they accept contraception, abortion, and sterilization population to prevent the false idea of population overgrowth. In reality, the problem we are actually facing is overcrowding. I can talk more about this in a future video. But just to let you know, the World Economic Forum themselves are open about this. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. Humans will all wear a uniform. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. This is the future we are signing up for. As people are busy chasing their whims and desires, not realizing the imminent dystopia heading towards us, our oppressors are so confident that they didn't feel the need to hide it from us. As the world is filled with confusion and delusion, they use emotional people and try to program society as a whole to ensure that they are always in control, no matter who goes against them. Charles Bukowski once said, "The problem with the world is that intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence." The LGBT community probably is trying to make the world brighter and colorful, when the reality is that the world is gray. Ultimately, they are nothing but a distraction from the huge liberal power trying to ruin and destroy humanity, which is why we can't tolerate them. We shouldn't tolerate them. They do not understand the ramifications of their actions and lifestyle. Anyways, I'd like to end the video here. I hope you gained something from it at the very least. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. What did I miss? What did I say wrong or right? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, feel free to support my channel however you can. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.